Hello, everybody. Today, we'll start chapter 3, control statements in our course. We'll talk about algorithms, pseudocode, control statements, flowcharts, selection statements, if else, if else, repetition statements, while and for loop. As a revision, algorithms, you can solve any computing problem by executing a series of actions in a specific order. Executing a series of action in a specific order. This is the general definition of algorithm. An algorithm is a procedure for solving a problem in terms of the action to execute and the order in which this action executes. So our daily routine is an algorithm. So the best example for any algorithm in the world is our daily routine. Every morning, wake up, wash your hand or your face, eat eat your dinner, and so on and so on and so on. So الأعمال اليومية هي روتين، خصوصا انتم كطلاب بتفيقوا الصبح، بتفوتوا على الحمام، بتغسلوا، بتلبسوا، بتاكلوا، تروحوا على الجامعة أو أونلاين أو أون كامبس، بترجعوا كمان ترجعوا تتغدوا وتدرسوا and so on and so on and so on. فهذا هو الجوريزم. الجوريزم هي اشياء عم تعملها بالبرنامج ان كان سوفت وير او بحياتك ان كان ايام الحياه العاديه. اوكي. Now, pseudocode. Pseudocode is an informal English-like language for thinking out algorithms. So pseudocode هو بوصلنا للالجوريزمز بس عم نكتب steps. We write the steps in English word. You write text that describes what your program should do, okay, in English. Then convert the pseudocode to Python or any programming language by replacing pseudocode statements or text or sentences with their Python equivalents. Okay, هذا هو البسيودوكود. Pseudocode هو انت عم تكتب algorithm but in English language. Step 1 I will do that. Step 2 I will do another. Step 3 I will do something else. Step 4 I will do something else. Okay, so this is called algorithm using pseudocode. So we write our algorithm using pseudocode. Okay, example here. Example, addition program pseudocode. The following pseudocode algorithm prompts the user to enter two integers, input them from the user, adds them, then stored and display their sum. So this is the pseudocode. Prompt the user to enter the first integer. The user will enter the first integer. Prompt the user to enter the second integer. The user enters the second integer. Add first integer and second integer. Store their sum in the memory. Then display the numbers and their sum. So this is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is pseudocode. It's not a code, it's a pseudocode. Then you can convert this pseudocode algorithm to your Python code or C code or Java code. So here x equal int, integer, conversion of integer, input. So here we input, okay, enter the first integer. So the input here will input your integer in type string type. then you convert it to the integer. So we must put int between parentheses, input anything you want, the message here. So here enter the first integer, y int input enter the second integer, s equal x plus y, comment. Okay, the hash number is comment in Python. Okay, or any operator, plus minus times, then display print. So you can write it something like that. Between quotation, x equal, comma, x, the value of x, comma, between quotation, plus y equal, comma, the value of y, comma, between quotation equal, comma, s. You can write it something like that or something else. We'll learn later many different ways. Okay. So this is pseudocode. We write algorithm, pseudocode, then converted to the Python code. Now, let's go to control statements. Usually, statements in a program, any program, execute in the order in which they are written. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. This is called sequential execution. So in sequential, line 1, then line 2, then line 3, then line 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, one by one. But various Python statements enable you to specify that the next statement to execute may be other than the next one in sequence. So if you have 5 lines, 5 statements, you can jump from line 4 to line 8 or to line 10, whatever, using some other statements. This statement is called transfer of control or control statements. So these are control statements. By default, the interpreter in Python or the compiler in C, Java, they compile or interpret the code line by line. But if we have control statements, so here we have exception. So the sequence execution statements or commands or syntax will be here: input, print, any assign. This is will be done sequentially. Selection statement, if else. So this is not sequential. If we have any condition here, so if the condition is true, so the code or the interpreter will go to the body of if. If the condition is false, we'll jump, we'll skip it. And if else, if the condition is true, so the interpreter will go to the body of if. If it's false, we'll go to the else body. Okay, this is called selection statement. And we have repetition statement or loops. Example 4 and while loop. So here the loop, the sum or block of statements will be repeated until the condition will be false. So it's not sequential. We repeat block of codes until the condition becomes false. Okay. Now we will talk about flowcharts. A flowchart is a graphical representation of a algorithm. So we have in general algorithm, we can describe our code by using pseudocode or using flowcharts. We can draw our work. So rectangles for action statement. If you have action statement, okay, if we have action statement, we draw it as rectangle. So in a flowchart, it's a graphical representation of our algorithms. Rectangles means action statement. Action statement like what? Action statement like, as we said before, action statement is input statement, print statement, equation statement, operation statement, calculations, and so on, assign statement. Now, diamonds for conditions statements. We use diamonds in if else, in for loop, and while loop, in any conditions. These diamonds for conditions. Then we have rounded rectangle or oval for begin and end statements. And we have small circles that we connect by arrows between each one, called flow lines. Like pseudocode, flowcharts also are useful to developing and representing algorithms. So for now, algorithm, to describe your algorithm, you can do it by English code, pseudocode, or by flowcharts. Then you can convert your pseudocode or and flowcharts to your Python code. Okay, this is something like repetition on your programming C. Now, sequential execution example here, we have assignments, 2 assignments, so will be 2 sequentials blocks, a rectangle, add the grade to total, add I to counter. So these 2 are sequential. Now, let's go to selection or condition statements. Python provides 3 types of selection that execute code based on condition. An expression that evaluates to either true or false. If we have true part or false part. We have the first type is single selection statement, if, only if. Performs an action if a condition is true, or skips the action if the condition is false. So only we have if. We have double selection statement, if else statement, performs an action 1 if a condition is true, or performs a different action 2 if the condition is false. So we have here action 1 and action 2 inside if else. Also we have the multiple selection statement, nested if else. Nested if else, we write it in Python, if, elif, not else if like C or Java. So here in Python, the difference between C and Python, here we write nested if else, if, elif, 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 then else. We terminate by else. Okay. Statement performs one of many different actions, depending on the truth or false of several conditions. So, repetition, statement or loops. Python also provides 2 repetition statements. The while statement repeats an action or a group of actions or a block of codes as long as the condition remains true. Okay, similar to C and Java. For statement repeats an action or a group of actions for every item in a sequence of items. So here we have different kind of loops. For loop in Python is totally different than for loop in C and Java or C++. So for loop, it's not similar to while loop. In Python, for loop, different than while loop. Later, we'll learn more about them. Okay, so while loop in Python, 100% similar to while loop in C and while loop in Java. But for loop in Python, different than while and different than for loop in C and Java. So this will be new in Python for you. Okay, so for loop statement repeats an action or a group of actions similar to while, but for every item in a sequence of items. We'll see that later. For now, you don't understand what it's mean. We'll see it later, okay, when we explain the for loop. Now, we have, like C or C++ or Java or any programming language, they have something called keywords. Keywords means if you use one of these words or these keywords, the interpreter give you error. You cannot use none, true, try, elif, as, and so on and so on and so on. This is called keywords. Similar in C or Java, they have different keywords in C, different keywords in Java, here different keywords in Python. So this is reserved word. So these words are reserved only for interpreter for Python. You cannot assign a variable to one of them. Okay? Let's start by the first one, if statement. How to write if statement in Python. Okay. As you know, we don't have braces. In Python, we don't have braces. So we put, instead of braces, the body of if, we put tab or indented space. You can put 2 space or 3 space. But I prefer to use tab from your keyboard. If you write here many statements for if, okay? So the if will be written in Python like something like that. If Boolean expression or condition, 2 point, not semicolon. It's 2 point. Then enter, tab, enter, tab, and write your first statement. Enter, tab, the second statement. Enter, tab, the third statement. Okay? So if statement in Python, if Boolean expression, condition, 2 full points, enter, tab, your codes here. Okay? This is only for if. Pseudocode, example, if student's grade is greater than or equal to 60, display passed. This is pseudocode. The flowchart will be the rhombus, the diamond, losange, in French, losange, دينار بالعربي. Okay. Okay. So if هذا معناتها if condition, هذا condition, greater than or equal 60, على اليمين on the right true. If it's true, make something, print passed. ما في else on. هو ما في else. هذه if بلا else. False إذا عملنا هيك false بنط على small circle here, flow lines called the flow lines, and make the next step. So he will skip this. The code in Python will be something like that. Grade equal 85, no semicolon, nothing at the end of any statement. If grade bigger than or equal 60, you can put parentheses or not. It's optional here. The parenthesis is optional, whereas in C and Java is obligatory. If a grade bigger than or equal 60, 2 points, enter tab, here we go, enter and tab, print, pass. Single quote or double quote. You can use single quote or double quote. So here is simple example about pseudocode, flowchart, and Python code. Okay, this is if. Any question for now? Good.
No,
Good. Now we go to if else. If else statement. So if Boolean expression condition 2 point, enter tab, code block for true part, else another 2 points, code block for false parts. So if you have here many statements here in if, enter tab, enter tab, enter tab, then else, don't make it tab. Okay, then enter tab, the code for false, enter tab, tab, tab. So don't forget in Python to make indented by tabular, by tab. Okay. So if conditions or expression, 2 points, your block of codes, body of if, else 2 point. Also here, else we have 2 point. Okay, for the code of the forts. Example here, if student's grade is greater than or equal to 60, display passed, else display failed. So here we have 2 actions. One of them will be executed, not 2 of them, one of them. If else, one of them. So in flowchart will be if grade equal to 60, if it's true, go right. If it's false, go left. Go right if it's true and the print passed, or if it's false, go left and the print failed. At the end, both true part and false part will join in the same bubble or small circle. This is for next step. Okay, previous step, our step, next step. So in if else statement, you write your condition. If it's true, go right and make your true bodies statement, body of if, and go to this small bubble. If it's false, make another action and go to the same point, to the same point. This is called next step. For the next step. So this is the flowchart of if else. If I want to write it, convert it to Python, will be like this. Grade equal 85, no semicolon, no 2 point. If grade bigger than or equal 60, 2 point, enter tab, print passed, no semicolon, nothing at the end. Enter without tab. Here, enter without tab, else must be indented inside the under F. Else, 2 point, don't forget this, 2 point here, 2 point here. Enter tab to let print under print, write failed or else. Okay. So this is example for if else statement in Python. So in Python, we put 2 points for if else. Any question? Good. Now, if you have nested if else, we have if, elif, and terminated by else. So if Boolean expression 1, 2 points or condition, code block 1, tab, here we put tab. elif, another conditions or expression 2, 2 points, code block 2. Okay, we can put elif as many as you want. At the last, we put else, 2 point, your code block for the last one. So the code will be, if student's grade is greater than or equal to 90, display A. Else if student's grade is greater than or equal to 80, display B. Else if greater than 70, display C. Else if greater than 60, display D. Else failed, F. So here are English code. So we transfer it to Python code. Grade equals 77, for example. If a grade bigger than 90, 2 point, enter tab, print A. elif, grade bigger than 80, enter tab, print B. elif, 70, elif, and we terminate by else, print F, print F, okay? Any question for now? Good. This is the flowchart of nested if else. Condition 1, if it's true, go, do it, and exit. And exit. If it's false, go to the else if. So if it's false, go to another condition, elif or else if. If it's true, make the true body of the second one and terminate. If it's false, go next step, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, till the last one is else. Here, sorry, here, okay, and the last one is else. So this is optional. Always, this one is optional, okay? It's optional. You put your false code here, and both are joined for the same bubble here, okay? This is for nested if else. Any question? Good. Now we'll go to while statement. While statement is similar to for loop in C or while loop in C. While Boolean expression or condition, to point, write your code block here with indented. Don't forget indented. So here, example pseudocode, while there are more items in my shopping list, buy next item and cross it off my list. Okay, so to do while loop in correct way, we must use 3 steps. Example here, product equal 3. This is initialize step, the condition variable. Okay, first step, we must assign a value to the condition variable. While product less than or equal 50, 2 points, this is put your condition, put your variable and make the condition in while. Then, if it's true, make some action, and then you must change the variable. You must change it, okay, to avoid infinite loop, which is logic error. It's not syntax error. So change the value to break the loop. You must change the value, +1, -1, whatever. So you put an equation here to break the loops, to make it false after n number of loops. Okay, so here we have 3 conditional steps to perform a good loop statements. Initialize the variable, put this variable in a condition with while, then make your codes in the body of while, then as a last step, change the variable to be broken, to break the loop. Else, you will get something called logic error. Okay? Any question here? Good. So the while statement will be, the flow chart will be product 3, example here, the condition here, product less than or equal 50. If it's true, change the product value times 3 and return, and return. This is loop and return. So product 3, product less than or equal 50, true. So in memory, p equal 3, less than 50, it's true. When it's true, go to this body. So the new product equal product times 3. So new p equal 9 and repeat. Product now, this condition is true, true. Go another time to the body and make times 3. So new p value, this is product p, equal 27. 9 times 3, 27. Less than and repeat, and repeat. Less than 50, yes. Go and make the product. So another time, p equal 81 and repeat it. Go to the condition. Less than 50, no, it's false. False, go out. So this loop make 3 iteration, 3 loops or 3 iteration. From 2 to 50, 3 iteration. And the first one will be false. So the last value for product value in the memory is 81. It's not 27, it's 81. Okay, this is a example using flowchart. Any question here? Good. Now I will stop here for statement because it's different. It's different than for statement that you know. So for loop, I will stop here. Okay, I will finish by here. I will make some example. Do you have any question?
No, doctor.
Okay. And we have 3 minutes. Still 3 minutes. I will go to Python. Do you see my screen? Did you see my screen?
No, it's still on PowerPoint.
Okay. Stop sharing. Okay. I open the pie chart. Now I will use the file here. Okay. Using if else. So if I can directly write if any condition you have, if x less than 50, 2 point. Okay, I want to define x equal 10. If x less than 50, enter tab, print. Okay, example A, I don't know. Okay, enter backspace. So it's only if. I can write if x bigger than or equal to, let's say, 8, 2 point, print b \n, else 1 backspace, else, okay, here else 2 point, enter, print c \n. Okay, it's example here. So save it. Okay, run test 3 will got, as you can see, x equal 10. If x less than 50, true, print a, the AI output. Now, if x bigger than 8, it's true, print b and \n. Okay, else. So it's very simple. You can use. If I remove this, we have error. Okay, compile. You got error in else, invalid syntax. So in else, we must put 2 points. Okay, right click, run test. Okay, this is small examples. Do you have any question? Do you have any question? Perfect. Okay.